Hi, I'm Miriam Beloglovsky, and I'm here with my co-author.
Hi, I'm Jessie Frazier, and I'm super excited to be joining you.
I think this is going to be an incredible 8 weeks that we're going to be working together. We have some exciting things planned, and we're thankful to Susan and Matt for inviting us to do that. So let us tell you a little bit about who we are. So, Jessie, why don't you start sharing who you are?
So, I'm Jessie Frazier. I am faculty at Grossmont College. I also do pedagogical work inside of the center there. I chair the San Diego Reggio Roundtable. That's actually how I met my wonderful co author, Miriam. She came and did a guest lecture for us, a workshop, and we connected. I, at the time, used to run a preschool. So she also came out, visited me there, and we decided, let's do this book together. um, Prior to directing, I actually worked in the classroom, which I never thought I'd leave, to be totally honest. I had some wonderful mentors who pushed me to do more and said, you can reach more children and families in administration. And they were right. But I've taught every age, infant to 5. Toddlers are my favorite. I just had this realization that because of the time I spent directing, I've actually spent more time working with preschool age children, which is crazy to me because I always considered myself a toddler teacher.
You
But
are.
that's a little bit about me. I know, and I have a toddler. He's 2. Um, so I get to put it into play there, which is nice. But I love toddlers. They're so much fun. That's where
They
their
are.
personality is coming out.
They are. I also love toddlers. I have a granddaughter that is also two. And I'm
Hmm.
Miriam Beloglovsky. You probably know me from the Loose Sports books and other books, but I love my passion right now is really thinking and working with educators who are in that moment in their lives when they want to do the deeper thinking. I always have considered myself a really deep thinker, a very
Yes.
thought-provoking thinker, and I am so excited to do this along with you because it is really the work that needs to be happening today in early childhood education. I think somehow we really need to push forth and do the reflective work that is necessary for us to become the best educators. Not that you're not already a very good educator, but what is always challenging you to do more. So, as we enter in this wonderful work together, let's start thinking about what are some of the challenges that you're currently encountering in your early childhood practices, and what else would you like to know as we move forward? Maybe we can find answers together. I don't propose that Jesse or I have all the answers, but we will be here guiding you and hopefully finding connections, building relationships, and really finding answers that maybe otherwise will evade us, or maybe even asking deeper questions for which we're not going to find any answers. Which brings me back to the Revisiting Journeys book and our own journey, Jesse, that we engaged in. What was like your biggest aha moment as we were writing this book together?
For me, I I didn't realize how rare it was what we were doing inside of my school as a team, right? So we would meet together and we would reflect and we would do this teacher research and we would play with materials and test things. And that to me seems so common practice and innate and natural, that it was an aha moment to me when you actually pointed out to me and you said, well, this isn't something all programs are able to do and get to do. So that for me really resonated. And it made me see how lucky I was to be able to work in that sort of setting and to have a team that was willing to go with me on this journey and to really dive in because they have to be open to it. You have to be open. Um,
And I think what you're talking about, I mean, let me backtrack a little bit. Yes, I think it is something that doesn't happen often. I think what we did in the book that is really essential is we named it.
Yes.
that's where we started talking about a parallel journey, that in order for us to really fully support children, we as educators need to engage in that parallel journey where you're talking about where you were researching the materials that you were using, testing them ahead of time, developing your own theories as adults. I think for me, that was one of the biggest aha moments too, that
Hmm.
we were able to name a practice that has not been consistent in early childhood. Because we've talked about reflective practices for a long time and not everybody's doing it. But naming it for me made it real.
Yeah.
In,
Well, and it brought the cycle of inquiry that so many of us talk about more to life, right? Because we, like you said, we talk about reflective practices, but how often do we actually do it? And by naming it, we created a commitment to it, a
yes,
partnership with it. It's we're more in relationship with the practices that we're doing as opposed to, okay, well, this time we'll engage with the materials and we just don't have time. So let's just throw some stuff out there that we think they might be interested in. We couldn't do that. We had to really commit to this practice.
right. And he also made it more valuable in so many ways and more democratic because it
Yeah.
became that process of it's not just my idea, but it is a collective idea that we're bringing together and we're committing to. Um,
Yeah. And it
so,
allows for the multiple perspectives, right? Like everyone's
absolutely.
getting their voice heard, which is so important, especially these times, right? We want to ensure that everybody's voice has value and that teachers are seen for the wonderful educators that they are.
Right. And I think that was an important of what you're saying right now. It's probably one of the most important things of the book too, is
Hmm.
that not often enough do we give our work as educators a name, or we
Hmm.
very seldom make it visible. So by bringing in the parallel journeys, it really made it very visible. You know, look what we
Yeah.
have to do, or look what we love to do, and the passion we have to do it that really brings children's learning to life because we have put that time, because we have made that commitment as an educator. And I think it opened up the voices that we very seldom hear, or the hard work that goes into teaching, that goes into educating young children, that goes into planning ecosystems. So that was an incredible part. Can you think of another part as we wrote the book that really became another aha moment or something that has shifted your own practices as a professor and as a pedagogista in the classroom?
I think for me too, the Chronicle walls was another piece that really shifted. Because oftentimes when I would do documentation as my in my own classroom as a teacher, I would do it, right? Like I would take what the
Mhm.
children are doing and I'd put it together, I'd assemble it myself, and then make this offering to the children of trying to show their theories and making it visible. But by including them in, there was so much more ownership from them. I mean, they loved, especially when we built up to the cameras and we gave them the cameras to use, they loved documenting their own
Mhm.
work and having that power to be able to say, I think this is important and I want everyone to see this. This is what matters to me. And it really helped draw the families back in too, because after COVID, it was a little tricky, right? There had been all these policies, people weren't supposed to come in. It was all like separation, which isn't what we want in early childhood settings. We want that partnership. So by having the children say, like, you have to come and see what I've been photographing, it really helped pull their families back in and bring that partnership that we needed and show them how valuable their voices and how their theories and their ideas matter. It instills that love of learning that we want them to have, that they need to have because they're going to go to school. We want them to want to be there, right? We don't want them to be like, oh, I have to go to school today.
Talk about readiness.
Exactly. That
When
is
we talk
school
about
readiness.
readiness, I mean, to me, the Chronicles brought the whole idea of that visibility.
Yeah.
Again, named it. We always talk about making children's learning visible through documentation, but I think by bringing them in and pulling them in, it actually made it visible for them, which we often don't talk
Yeah.
about. We make it visible for the administrators, we make it visible for the parents, but and the family. So what about the children? And I think the Chronicles, just twisting it a little bit, just brought a
Yeah.
whole other perspective. So I'm excited to spend 8 weeks really delving into this. I'm really
Yes.
curious to see what Susan and Matt are going to pull together in their
Yeah.
conversations, and what they're planning around using materials and art. That's another very exciting piece for me. I think I'm going to have to start really doing some more art. Like I'm really excited about doing gel printing again. Um, so the book was something that took a lot of work. It is also based on very strong primary research that was conducted where we identify the many ways that children enter into inquiry. And I think that created the basis of what the stories in the book started to
Mhm.
emerge. It was also wonderful to participate with some of the programs. We tried to bring some diversity in
Yeah.
programs from private to public to, you know, incredibly thoughtful, reflective spaces like Boulder Journey School, um,
Mhm.
immersive learning with Paola. I mean, it was just an incredible process to bring in other perspectives and for us to just work one together to sort of bring the stories to life. And you will see that in the second part of the book in all the different chapters. So I'm really excited to hear what you all have to say for us today. Jesse, you want to say goodbye and do a little closing?
I do. I also just want to piggyback off that and say something that I really enjoy about the book too is that this work happened throughout the US. Um, I think that's a really important piece because I know you all may be from all over the place. So just knowing that no matter where you are, your location, the weather, whatever you're experiencing, this can still be done. It was done all the way here in California to Florida to Colorado to New Jersey. Those are all very different weather patterns and different spaces and cultures inside of it. So we're so excited to have you join us. I'm really excited to look and looking forward to being one of your camp counselors.
And we have other news. We have a new contract to do
We
the
do.
follow-up on revisiting journeys, and this time is
Yeah.
going to be on professional development in motion. So sort of what you're also going to be experiencing as we guide you as your counselors throughout these next 8 weeks. So I can't wait to do this work together. This is incredible. Once again, I'm honored to be working with you, Jesse, and having fun
Thank
together. And you're never going to know what you're going to expect from us because we may have you do some fun stuff. Uh, we don't know either. We're going to be really flexible and go with the flow because that's how we think. Anyways,
Well, it's just like with the children. We got to see where it takes us.
you got to be flexible. We call it mind flexivity. Anyways, have a wonderful time in the meantime, and we'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.